Good morning, folks. Welcome to Half and Half this morning. I'm your hostess, Colette. Scott and I were gone last week, and we took about 10 days off, and it was great off of teaching. We did a little trip to Minneapolis last weekend, and that was really nice. That's Scott's college stomping grounds. He went to the University of Minneapolis. Go Gophers. He likes to say that. So it was fun, yeah. And now we're back and thinking about the fall. So one question we have for you all is if you have anything you'd want to work on this fall. We're looking at maybe doing some themes, some groups of classes. I think that works well for people when we stick with an idea for a few weeks. And so maybe each month, a different theme. Breath, we've done some obliques, we've done balance. So if there's anything that you think, oh yeah, I'd like to go back to that, or you haven't talked about this and this would be really helpful, type it in the chat and let us know. And as we're putting together our themes for the fall, yeah, we'd love to hear what you're interested in. And then if we don't get feedback from you, you know we always have ideas. We're just always coming up with something to do. And today, like today, we want to look at plank and all the things it takes to get into a plank position to hold your upper body weight, which is really a lot. I mean, I just said it like it's an upper body exercise, but it's kind of just a full body exercise. There's so much core work involved in maintaining a plank. And then what you really need is to connect your upper body into that core strength and feel how the weight can be distributed through the feet and the upper body. But we're going to do lots of stuff that lead up to that. So I have a strap. You might have a towel. We're going to start on your back. We'll do some stuff with abdominals and upper abdominals and connecting into the arms, and then see where that takes us. So let's start on your back. And take a moment to get into your space, into your body, into your breath. Settle everything into the floor. Now, one thing that happens a lot when people go into core work, especially like full body stability core work like plank, is you hold your breath, right? You know that feeling of holding your breath to create stability. And we want to be able to breathe when we do it. So let's start a little bit with just getting your breath to move. And feeling how it can move, especially through your back ribs. So big belly breath is great for relaxation, but not so good when you're doing a plank. So can we start to direct your breath into your back ribs, into your side ribs, into your armpits? And then feel how on the exhale you get just a little bit of tone in your abdominals. The lower ribs drawing together in the front. The lower belly coming on, just a little bit of tone there. Now let's add in a little bit of upper abdominal curl, working with the ribs drawing together in the front. So hands behind your head, elbows up towards the ceiling or out on a diagonal a little bit. And then take your inhale through the upper back, through the back ribs. Exhale, lower ribs draw together, head comes up, looking into your belly. Hold it here. Now, what's it like to breathe with your head up? You got to keep a little more tension in your abdominals as you inhale. Exhale, deepen it. Bring your head a little higher, lowering your head back down. And start again, breathing in through the back. Exhale. Find your abdominals, bring the head up, hold it here. Keep some tension in your belly as you inhale. Feel a little more work as you exhale. And lower back down. And 2 more, exhaling to start the movement up. And last one, hands are supporting your head, but not pulling your neck. So can you feel that as well? And then as you come down this time, take your hands away and take a couple breaths again. You can breathe into your belly however you like. Reset everything. And then grab your strap or your towel. If you have your towel, you probably have about the right size. But if you have a strap, you're going to fold it over 2 times. So it's not very long. So it's about shoulder distance-ish apart. If you're using a towel, you've probably got about the right length. With the towel, you can just hold it at shoulder distance. So my knuckles are pointed up to the ceiling. My hands are about shoulder distance apart. And then the strap I have right up over my chest here. And then just a little bend in your elbows. Play with that a little bit. And as your elbows bend, let's have them in the direction that they go wide to the sides and not in towards your body. So let's get that feeling with the elbows a little bent. And then go almost to straight, like 93% straight, which is how you get an A. Once you get to 92%, it's an AB. So we want to be 93% at least. But not, we don't want 100, we just want 93%. Straight wrist. And that 93% straight allows you to keep your upper back a little more open, your shoulder blades a little wider, your chest a little wider. Maybe you can feel that. Now do a little pull out on the strap. And what do you feel when you pull out on the strap? So take a moment holding it. What do you think is working? Now it's subtle, but obviously it's something. So do you feel it mostly in your chest? Do you feel it in your hands? Do you feel it in your forearms? Do you feel it in your triceps, your biceps, your upper back, your neck, any of those things, your abdominals? Now let that go. Now, make a couple choices. I'm going to say mostly what I go for when I do this pull, I'm trying to connect into my triceps, but my chest is working some. I usually feel some in my chest. My upper back, sometimes I feel, sometimes I don't. My upper abdominals, my ribs, those are pretty good too. And all the other stuff I try to minimize. So I'll say it again. So I want to feel triceps, maybe upper back of the shoulder, upper abdominals, and then a little bit in the chest, but not too much. Less forearms, less hands, less neck, and then let it go. And take it a couple times. Little pull out and release it. Sometimes the way to get it out of the forearms and the hands is to just loosen your grip. How tightly do you really need to hold the strap? And just out and in a few times. And then letting that go. and find your way up to sitting. Okay, so we're going to take that feeling in the upper body, kind of combining those two feelings in the upper body of the arms working and that lifting the head crunch feeling. Start from sitting. So feet are about hip distance apart, knees are bent. I'm going to take that shoulder distance, 93% straight elbows. Find the pull out. And then just like you did in the crunch, draw your ribs in. Find your abdominal feeling. You're going to roll back to the place where you get just a little, kind of push in that place. Like, where does it start to feel like, oh, now I'm really working? And that'll be different. You might go just a little ways back. You might go a long ways back. But feel that ribs connected in the front feeling. Upper back, tricep. Some chest, but not too much. And hold it here for a couple breaths. And then forward. And back up. Now, if it's a lot in your neck or a lot in your lower back, you don't have to use the strap. You can actually feel the same thing holding your legs if that works better for you. But if the strap works for you, I think it's a good way to connect all this stuff into the plank, and the stuff will do. So we'll go again. Find your pull. Think of the ribs drawing together. Probably going to feel some lower abdominals. And then keep trying to find that upper abdominal feeling. It's possible to go really low, almost like you're doing the 100. And then if you want, you could do a little out and then pull again in this position. Easy legs. And then really working that to come up. The lower you go, the harder it is to not use your neck. So notice that. Here we go, 2 more. And then once you're there, if you want, a couple pulls. And then pull, bring it up. Good. One more. And pull into it and release. And inhale through your upper back. Exhale through your ribs and belly. Once you pull this time, hold that and bring yourself back up. And rest. Okay, so let's take that onto your hands and knees and see if we can find all that same stuff once you're on your hands and knees. So the difference is on my hands and knees, I'm going to be in a neutral position as opposed to what we just did there. We were in this position. Sometimes it's easier to feel your abdominals in neutral. Sometimes it's harder. But it's that same rib connection feeling and like you were pulling a little bit with the strap feeling, but keeping the head more in line. So knees right under your hips, hands right under your shoulders or slightly forward. Sometimes that's easier on your wrists. Bend your elbows a pretty good amount out to the side like we did lying on your back. And in this position right here, ribs together, wide upper back, press into the floor, 93% straight. See if you can feel the connection like you had with the strap in those muscles. And do that same thing again, little micro push-up. So here I am, I'm in that bended elbow position. I find the ribs first. And then as I push right away, I can actually feel the triceps, upper back, rib connection all the way through that 93% straight position. Couple more little micro somatic push-up. Just try to get the connection happening. The more you connect the upper body, the less you have to be tight in your lower back or your neck or your hips. Okay, so once you're there this time, keep that position, keep the connection through your upper body. We're just going to play with the legs a little bit. So right leg reaches back and all the way off the floor, not too high, but straight. And then bring your right leg all the way back to hands and knees. So a little different than we sometimes do. Find your upper body connection. Try to keep it as the left leg reaches back and a little bit off the floor. Straight is more important than high. And bring it back in. Now you probably feel your weight shift a little bit side to side. It's okay. But how much can you keep your upper body connected and mostly centered? So you're minimizing how much you shift your weight, even though you will shift your weight. And keep going, a couple more. Inhale through your back. Exhale into your belly or from your belly. One more each side. And then sit back into child's pose. So you take the weight off your wrist. And then come up to sitting. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is maybe a little, anyway, just watch it first. That's what I want to say, the next thing I'm going to do. So when we go into plank, a lot of times what happens is we kind of go into plank and then we, fix it, do all the things we need to do. One thing I think is really interesting in trying to keep all this connection is playing with the moment that the second leg comes off. So I have my connection. I have my first leg, right? Mostly we could all get our first leg down and it's fine, right? No real challenge there. So it's as the second leg comes off that things tend to go awry. And so as that second leg comes off is when I tend to pull my butt up. It's when I tend to collapse in my shoulder blades. It's when I tend to do things with my neck, whatever it is I'm going to do, right? So that moment right there, similar to what we just did, I'm going to reach my right leg back. I'm ready to go into that plank. I connect through the upper body, and then I just start to push through my hands and push through my back foot until I'm just kind of light in the other leg, right? It's not even really lifting. I mean, it could lift, but it doesn't have to. It just isn't really taking weight. So I can feel that transition moment. I really like those moments of transition because that's when you can like tune in to how you want to make the movement happen. So give it a try. Get into your hands and knees position. Let's start with the left leg back. And as your foot is in that tucked under position, take a moment and reset everything. Elbows, upper back, ribs, neck, hands spreading out. And then just feel how, as you think about lifting the other leg, you push through your hands more and you push through your left foot. And you all of a sudden just have less weight in that right knee. And so you can gauge this however you want, right? You might not take the leg off, you might take the leg off. Or you might just have it floating on the floor. Someone might think it was on the floor, but it's really not. And then come back down. It's a lot of work, I think. And And then taking the second leg, reaching back, set yourself up. And then just feel what it's like. Push through your foot, push through your hands, find your upper body support, your abdominals. And as you push more and more, you'll feel the other leg get lighter without lifting your butt. And then back down. Take a little rest. So again, if you have problems with your wrist, if you find that that's, taking weight on your wrist is really, really hard for you, you might just hold the position with one leg back and not try to take your leg off and just be in this position. The work has already started here. And you might think, well, that's really lame, Colette. I don't want to do that, because we all think that sometimes too, but it's not lame. I'm just going to say, I don't think it's lame. School is cool and all that stuff, right? Something like that. Just find the thing that really reinforces your level of strength and support. Line everything up. And then find that transition feeling. Now, if you want to stay in the transition feeling, stay in the transition feeling. If you want to reach the leg back and be in the plank, take that. It really shouldn't feel that different for a lot of people to get that second foot back. Sometimes it feels better because you have the second foot holding you. And then coming back down. Take it one more time. Second leg goes back. And then transitioning. And bring it all back in. And take a rest again. And come up to sitting. So let's go back onto your back again, and we'll play with the single leg circles. So I mentioned at the beginning, breath gets lost in plank sometimes. And I think single leg circles is this great way to practice the long plank position, your abdominals working and your breath still flowing. So you can do that right here. So one leg out straight, holding the back of the opposite leg. Take a moment. Elbows are a little wide. There's the upper back support already. You just worked it. Maybe you can feel that now holding your leg as you take it up and down. Inhale, opening the back. Exhale, bending your knee. One more time up and hold it. Now we're going to take a in-between exercise here. Before we start circling the leg, you're just going to hold the leg up. So hands come down by your side. Think of that, pulling on the strap, feeling through your upper back. And then inhale, keeping some support through your abdominals. With the inhale, deepening that support on the exhale. And now we circle. Inhale over to the left, exhale around and up. Same thing. Breathe, keep the support. Exhale, deepen the support. Two more. And reverse it. The leg that's circling is secondary. for what we're working on now. Holding your torso, holding your abdominals, still getting a full breath. That's the primary thing right now. And then just a little circle with your leg. One more. And rest your right leg down. Relax everything. Take a little reset breath, however you like. And then let's set up the other side. Bring your left leg in, holding the back of your thigh. Feel how you support your upper body. No, it's not a lot of weight. Create the support there. Inhale, you reach up. Exhale, you bend. And next time you take the leg out, we'll leave it there. Now let's do the in-between exercise. Leg stays up, hands come by your side. You just hold the leg up there. Bend your knee if it feels like it's all in your hip and your quad. Can be some there, but see if you can get it into your abdominals. Imagine the strap feeling in your upper body. And then let's start the circle. Inhale over to the right. Exhale, around and up. Two more. And reverse it. My right leg on the floor. I'm really reaching that leg long, just like I might in a plank. That same sort of feeling. And then relax everything down. And then again, reset. Let your breath just move however. And however you like, bring yourself up to sitting. And we'll do a little handoff here.
Hey everybody. So let's stay on the floor. I'm going to move to the floor. And on the floor, bring your upper chest as close as possible down. Now, of course, it's not going to touch. But for a lot of us, because we have a habit of head forward, we end up on our bellies like this. So maybe your head is touching and your upper chest is some distance up off the floor. So let's switch that around. Float your nose and chin up off the floor. And at the same time, bring your upper chest as close to the floor as you can, without any expectation that the upper part of the chest is going to touch the floor. So let's take a few breaths right here. So maybe you can see in the side view on the video that this is going to be spine more or less aligned. So then see if you can keep that alignment as you float your hands up off the floor. And then see if you can maintain that alignment as you reach your arms back, palms facing up. So this right here is a wonderful way to strengthen the muscles that run along your spine, that's helped support a healthy, strong neck, that helps support elegant, youthful posture. few more breaths. Then return your hands back by your armpits. And here's a transition that's really good for building strength. Push up to hands and knees. Now, just like you worked with Colette, on hands and knees, little soft elbow bend. Remember what it felt like on your belly? Align your spine. The best you can, keep your spine aligned. Just like you worked on before, take one leg back. I'm going to start with my right leg. And then your choice. You could hover the knee or take that leg back. And we'll hold here for a count of 3, 2, 1. Back down to hands and knees. We'll take a moment here to reset, reboot the alignment. Hips, shoulders, ears. Now take your other leg back. In my case, that's left leg. Then right knee, maybe a little bit lighter. Maybe extending back. Holding for a count of 3, 2, 1. Come on back down. And then all the way back down to your belly. So hands next to your armpits. An artifact of the habit of your head forward. Is your head on the floor and your upper chest some distance up off the floor? It's to help strengthen the muscles that support healthy, happy neck, to help strengthen the muscles supporting elegant posture. Bring your upper chest down and float your nose and chin up off the floor. And 3 slower, deeper breaths here. Now, in time with practice, it's possible to maintain that torso alignment, hips, shoulders, ears, as you press up. And then from hands and knees to yoga pose, head down dog. Let's spend about 4 breaths right here. And then with the next out breath, step your feet forward to gorilla. Fold with the inhale. Roll up with the out breath. Arms to the side. So feet just a little bit wider than your hips. Remember what it felt like on your belly, aligning your torso? Let's take a few moments here, as best you can, not thinking about what it felt like. As best you can, let your thinking brain take a break and drop into your body. And a sense of what it felt like on your belly. Let your body naturally remember that experience. Because so many of us, we live with our heads forward. And for a lot of us, that's a habit. So that time we spent on the belly was about building the motor memory. And the body's really smart. Body remembers. All right. So best you can, keeping that alignment, hips, shoulders, ears. as you bring your hands to your hips. And see if you can maintain that torso alignment as you bend your knees, ankles, and hips. Feel how your torso comes forward and then come on back up. So back to the vertical. Now once again, bend, ankles, hips, knees. Torso comes a bit forward and come on up. Let's do another like that. All right, so maybe you're feeling those muscles that run along your spine. Remember how they support posture and happy, healthy neck? What we're doing is incrementally challenging those muscles. So in standing here, they don't have to work all that hard. A little bit, not a lot. And then as you bend your knees, ankles, and hips, and you incline forward, they have to work more, otherwise you'd fall forward. So let's take a few breaths here in that triple flexion. And then come on back up. All right, ready for the fun part? Release your arms down. Have your palms face back behind you. Remember what it felt like to align your torso rather than your head forward in front of you. Hips, shoulders, ears stacked in the vertical. Now with the next out breath, triple flexion, vertical now yields. You're coming a little bit forward. Inhale up. Exhale, triple flex. Inhale up. 3 more. So next time in the triple flex position, let's pause there. So in many respects, what you did in plank earlier with Colette is being replicated right here. Hips, shoulders, ears all lined up. A little different arm position, admittedly. So now let's have a little bit of fun with it. So shift your weight a little bit onto your right foot. Explore that left foot a little bit lighter. And then if you'd like even more challenge, you could step that left foot back a little bit. Touch. Return. Come on back up. And shake it out a little bit. All right. Line your torso up. Remember, we spent a lot of time on our bellies not that long ago. You did all that good work with Colette, finding that alignment. That palms facing back behind you. See if you can keep that dynamic torso alignment as you bend. Feel how your torso inclines forward. And then shift the weight a little bit to your left foot. Right foot can lift. If you want more challenge, you can step back behind you. Touch. Back. Come on up. Once more. Triple flex. Core alignment. Left foot can lighten. Up to and including stepping back. Up. Second side. Core alignment. Torso a little bit forward. More weight on your left. Up to and including stepping your right foot back. And come on up. All right. Shake it out. So now, as best you can, relax. So we've given a lot of information to your body, specifically to your central nervous system. Now, as best you can, relax your hands, shoulders, jaw, neck. We'll take a few moments here quietly. Now, you might be wondering, to do what? What are we doing right now? Notice how you're standing. That's not always true, but much of the time, having done the kind of stuff that we've done already, people find that they're standing taller. So this is an example. As posture, we tend to make it a lot of work, too much work. So do your postural work. Then the very best thing you can do long-term for your posture is relax. Let's take a few moments here. So talked a little bit about relaxing your hands, shoulders, jaw, and neck. Now let's go to some of the other places where a lot of people habitually store tension. Invite awareness to the tops of your feet. Yeah, as weird as that sounds, the tops of your feet. And relax the tops of your feet. Left foot and right foot. That was tension holding your toes up off the ground. Let your toes drop down. Now a related tension is in the fronts of the hips right here. So as best you can, invite the fronts of your hips to relax. Now let's take a few breaths. All right, now let's make our way back to the floor. Deep inhale here. Exhale, arms up. Inhale, rolling down. Exhale, gorilla. Inhale, stepping back. Back to head down dog. Let's take 3 breaths here. And then come on down. So one technique I learned at a yoga workshop a long time ago, going on 30 years ago. It was shown to me by the yoga master Dona Holloman. It's called the Unbendable Arm. And the demonstration was that if somebody is trying to hold their arm straight, someone's trying to bend their arm, when they do it with their muscles, it's a struggle. And she did this demonstration where she asked the volunteer to stretch out through their fingertips and only focus on stretching out through the fingertips. And nobody could bend their arm. Even the strongest person, the most burly person there, could not bend their arm. So I still can't really explain why that works, but I ended up teaching that for 25, 30 some odd years, and it never failed. That trying to keep the arm straight using muscles rarely, if ever, worked. But extending out through the fingertips harnessed an energy or a strength that was pretty uncanny. So we're going to take that idea into some planks here. So let's come on to hands and knees. So on hands and knees, you know the drill in terms of alignment: hips, shoulders, ears. Now we're going to move into a plank. So if this is a bummer on your wrists, feel free to come down onto your forearms. It's perfectly okay to be on your forearms. So whether you're on forearms or hands, find that hips, shoulders, ears alignment. Now whether you're on forearms or hands, take one leg back like you've done already. And now to invoke that unbendable arm, the leg that's back, reach that heel back behind you. At the same time, stretch the crown of your head forward and in front of you. Lengthen your torso. The lengthening will help support your torso. Then keeping heel back, head forward. As you float the other knee, stretch back, and work on heels back, head forward, lengthening head forward, heels back, holding here for kind of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and come on down. Let's take a few breaths here. Hips, shoulders, ears lined up. Take the other foot back, heel back, head forward. And keeping that sense of length, let the lengthening support you as you take the other leg back. And let the lengthening hold you up, almost like you're floating. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and come on down. Back to hands and knees. Turn your toes under. Head down dog. Let's take a few breaths here. So next movement is optional. Spend a lot of time on your hands and your wrists, and if that's a bummer for your hands and wrists, probably best to stay in dog pose here, because in dog pose, legs support most of the body. But if you'd like a little bit more challenge, from head down dog, move into a straight arm plank and shift the support from muscle to energy by reaching heels back, head forward. Sustaining that lengthening for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Use your thighs to pull your butt back behind you. Rather than pushing with your hands, pull with your legs. And then in head down dog, right between your shoulder blades, fill your upper back with the inhale. Exhale, come on down. And set up and cross legs. And if your knees are way up in the air, you can sit up on something. Folded blanket, pillow. All right, so we did a lot of work on first feeling core alignment. Then reinforcing core alignment by strengthening the muscles that help support that efficient posture. Now, a lot of us start off on the back of the sitting bones, back on the tailbone. Roll more onto the centers, the points of your sitting bones. Now, if that's difficult or impossible to do, sit up higher. So then let your posture naturally organize in the vertical. As Yogi Berra famously said, when you encounter a fork in the road, take it. So a variation on the theme. If there's a choice here between more effort and less effort, take the path of less effort. Now, do you feel how your spine is in the vertical axis like a flagpole? So now what we're going to do is we're going to spin around that flagpole. Bring your left hand across, right hand behind. Twisting about your spinal axis. Couple more breaths here. Back to the middle. Given a choice, less effort, more effort. Less effort. Because really this verticality is the human experience. It's not something we have to create. part of our humanness. So again, let's process about the vertical axis. Right hand this time comes across. And then back toward the middle. Now your legs are folded, aren't they? One leg's in front, one leg's behind. Switch them. Now, if you're anything like me, you go to the easy way first. This way feels kind of weird. So now, roll on your sitting bones a little more forward. If possible, bring your hands forward. So no need to fold really far forward, just enough to get a little bit of a tug in your hip muscles and your butt muscles. And then breathe. Now with the next exhale, roll up. All right. So if you're comfortable sitting as you are, stay there. For me, sitting on the floor is a little bit of tension in the hips. So I like to sit up on a cushion. You could sit up on a cushion, or sitting on a chair is a really great way to practice this. So really, in sitting, there's kind of only one thing to do, and it's to stabilize, level your pelvis. Because most people are back on their tailbones. It's kind of impossible to be in the vertical when the foundation isn't square. So if you experience being back on your tailbone, roll your pelvis forward so you're perched right on the points of your sitting bones. Now, if there's any one thing that I focus on in my activities of daily living, working at my desk, sitting in a chair, it's to relax. And your body will naturally seek the vertical. Especially when you do deliberate, focused posture alignment work like we've done so far today. You put the information into the nervous system and your body kind of goes, oh yeah, I like the vertical. I remember the vertical. So let's take a few slower, deeper breaths and let this feeling more deeply imprint into your body memory. All right. Now forget everything I just said. I sometimes see people have a nice experience in the class and go, oh, I have to remember that and hold it as I go about my day. Their bodies end up really tense. So there's, I think, a little bit of faith in working with the body. Give the body input, give it information, and your body will remember. All right. So that sure seemed to go pretty darn quickly here today. Couple things coming up that I'm really excited about. One of which is that we have a workshop coming up in about 20 minutes taught by our colleague Kelsey. Kelsey is a rock star teacher, and she's offering a workshop on the foam roller, or what I oftentimes like to call the Rome Fuller. So whether you call it a foam roller or a Rome Fuller, they're really great for working on postural alignment. They give you great feedback. It's a really great way to work on your balance and to strengthen your core. It also can be really nice to help tease apart adhesions or restrictions that you may experience in your body. That workshop with Kelsey is going to come up at 10:15 this morning, so in about 20 minutes from now. The other program I'm really excited about, is I'm going to be teaching Pilates for old jocks. It's a 5-part class, and that's going to be starting September 7th. So if you get a chance, check out the website, Pilates on Harrison, for Pilates for old jocks. It's a really great way to keep a high mileage body functioning really well. So any comments, questions? Yeah, so the workshop, Kelsey's workshop is just for subscribers. Okay. But yours is open to anyone. Great. So I'm reminded that the workshop at 10:15 is for subscribers only. And so if you're not a subscriber for Pilates on Harrison, this could be a great day to do it. And then my class that I'm teaching, Pilates for Old Jocks, is open to anybody. And if you know anybody who may be interested, tell them about it. And then one person had a question about when I relax the top of my feet, it feels like my ankles collapse. So somebody is noticing that when they relax the tops of their feet, their ankles collapse. And that's not uncommon. So whenever I'm working with anything, whether it's shoulder placement, excuse me, or foot alignment, I try and tread the balancing point between some small amount of work to balance in a way that may be beneficial, but to be just the side of being tense. And one of the things that I found, especially when I taught a lot of yoga, is people were holding their feet in a really tense way, and that tension went all the way up into their neck. So I'd use your neck as the barometer. That if letting your feet relax completely and the drop of the ankles makes your neck tense, then maybe a little bit more focus on lift of your arches. And if you find that lifting the arches maybe excessively tenses your neck, it's too much of a good thing. So finding that balance point, some effort, some relaxation, find the middle path. All right, thank you so much. Let's do it again next week.